guys, G here from The Way Within. Thank you so much for everyone who watched episode number 1. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Got a lot of amazing emails, messages, feedback. A little bit of hate too that I didn't do Burning Man properly. I know in retrospect I could have probably done it in a different way, but I don't think the outcome would have been the same. And that was impactful for me, is the pain and suffering I went through on that one night and all of the perspective that I gained afterwards. So thanks for watching. This episode 2, we're going to change it up a bit. We're going to talk to Gino who founded the Master Fast, the 108-day fast. Right now, at the recording of this podcast, I'm at 47 days since I ate last. So I've been drinking juice. We'll get into the protocol in the show, but I feel great. I lost 30 pounds, over 30 pounds. Not that I need to lose 30 pounds. And things have been coming out of me that are like something out of a horror movie. Even past like a 2-foot worm. And I'll show the video of that at the end of this podcast if you're interested. Warning, it's graphic content. If you have a weak stomach, do not watch it. I'll also put another warning right before we show it as well. But yeah, I feel amazing, and my whole perspective towards food has changed, as we will talk about in this show. So without further ado, this episode 2 is about the Master Fast System and the founder, Gino. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast. I'll see you on the other side. Thanks, guys. Peace.
You're ready to wake up, you're going to wake up. And if you're not ready, you're going to stay pretending that you're just poor little me. And since you're all here and engaged in this sort of inquiry and listening to this sort of lecture, I assume that you're all on the process of waking up.
And as you wake up, a funny thing starts to happen. You'll start to see the world in a different light. And eventually, when you're ready, you'll start to look within. Who are you? This show was created to assist you on your journey. Welcome to The Way Within. Gino, welcome to Collective Evolution. Welcome to The Way Within podcast. I guess we'll start off the interview just a bit with, what's your backstory? Italian boy, growing up in Toronto, eating a lot of breads, pasta, sugar, coffee. So what happened? How did you originally get into fasting, or how did it start? Your journey and to get to where you are today?
I grew up like the average Canadian Italian family boy. Both my parents were from Italy. They moved here, then they got married here, and so on and so forth. But grew up just like everybody else, eating everything and anything. Enjoying life. Into a lot of bodybuilding at the early years and so on and so forth. And as the teenage years went on and so on and so forth, I always started getting some pains in my back. I never really knew what they were. And when was it? About when I was 26, 1990, I was handed a book called The Mucusless Diet Healing System by Arnold Ehret. Read that, made sense, dropped all meat, and the book's about fasting and living a fruitarian lifestyle, a mucusless diet, foods that do not produce mucus in the body, less obstructions. He was a master of his day, early 1900s. He had centers, fasting centers, where he helped thousands and thousands of people overcome many ailments and diseases and so on and so forth. So after I got handed that book, it like I said, it made sense. So I changed. I stopped all meat, and the dairy took a little bit longer. And I don't know, it wasn't that much long, but a few months later, I said, I got to leave this stuff too. And I did my. I got into doing my first 40-day juice fast because I went to see an old friend of mine who I've met back then. He was a herbalist, and he says, he shows me another book, the Dr. Bernard Jensen's all full of plaque. He's the colon doctor, right? He's there, you got to fast to get this stuff out of you. I'm going, no way, we got that. So I had to do it to prove wrong. So what did I use? I used Concord grape juice off the shelf back then. There was a company called Wiley Brothers.
So you see back then, how long ago?
1990.
1990. And you were how old at this time?
26.
26. This was your first health fast. Yeah. Okay.
So I just jumped in, not knowing anything or no support or anything. I bought this juice. It was the Wiley brothers back then. They used to sell gallons of Concord grape juice in health food stores, and they had half gallons. It was like $10 for a gallon.
Wow.
Here, Concord grape juice. So that's all I drank. And within a week, I started unloading black, tar, plaque, and all kinds of different colors. And it just kept
Similar to
coming
the
out.
pictures we see in the Facebook group. Yeah.
And that's all I did, though, nothing else. And it kept going until 40 days. And then I broke the fast. And back then, not knowing anything about anything, I read the book and everything, but no support, no experience. What ended up happening was I ended up burning my kidneys once I broke the fast. And I ended up staying in bed for 2 years.
Wow.
With severe kidney and bladder problems. I didn't know.
Explain a little bit more burning the kidneys. What does that mean?
Well, when you're detoxifying in a fast, similar to what I explained, the body accumulates toxins over its lifetime of eating foods that are not really foods for human species. And toxins, chemicals, acids, and so on and so forth, they get accumulated into the body. And when you fast, the body goes into a dumping mode to eliminate these toxins. And because we're not living in a state natural to our design, our body's overwhelmed with these toxins. And when you start fasting and these things start dumping out of you, the kidneys are the organs that are doing the most work to remove these things. And they just get overloaded. And you burned them out. Like they were on fire. What ended up happening was severe pains, sciatic nerve right to my toe, bladder was on fire. I'm going around to acupuncturists, Chinese acupuncturists, herbs, chiropractors. They wouldn't even look at me because I was such in bad shape I could barely walk. I ended up going to a Japanese acupuncture downtown. I found one. I went there a couple times, and I couldn't drive. I couldn't sit down.
So did you think it was something physical, or did you know it was something internal? Like
I knew,
you can't walk.
I
It's a
knew,
weird thing,
no,
right?
I knew it was kidney because of the research and stuff, but I didn't know exactly who, what, where, when, why. I didn't have all the answers. So I'm just doing all these research. So the information was there, but not to the exact reasons and so on and so forth. So
And there's no one you could talk to about it because no one else.
nobody can give me proper answers. So I went to this Japanese acupuncture downtown, and I couldn't drive my car. I couldn't sit. So I got on my motorcycle. I had a 1,000 Kawasaki back then.
Nice.
Because I could ride the bike, but I couldn't sit. It was weird, the positioning. So I go downtown on the second or third time to do this acupuncture treatment. I finished the treatment, everything, really relaxed and all that. I get outside to get on my bike, put the key in. I grab the handlebars. As soon as I pick up the bike off the kickstand, that much, I got a severe attack of pain, and I collapsed in the middle of the road there, screaming in pain. People are coming out. The acupuncture comes out. Oh, let's get you back. I was in so much agony. My mind wasn't working. So they all convinced me you should go to the hospital, which was the last thing on my mind. I ended up going to the hospital. Get to the hospital. The ambulance came, blah, 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 go to the hospital. They're, looking me over this, that, after I don't know how long I was waiting. I was screaming in pain. It was severe. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And after they checked me out and everything, talking about operation, as soon as I heard that word, I go, can you get me the phone? I got to go home. I got to call my wife. They're going, what? They go, you crazy? You're not going to walk if we don't operate. I go, no, I'm going home. They didn't believe me. So I ended up calling my wife, and I went home. And it was a 2-year battle to figure out what the hell's going on. So most of those 2 years I spent bedridden. And this was shortly after I got married back then. So anyway, I kept fasting part of my life. I would always do short fasts.
So you didn't think the fast hurt you? You were convinced it was helping you. Something went wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do something and something like that happens right away. You're going to try and blame what happened on what you just did.
I have an understanding now exactly what happened, but back then it was just.
I can imagine. It's scary.
I couldn't get the proper answers. There was no internet, asking around. The answers weren't coming to me. So those years went by, doing a little bit of fasting. My whole thing since 1990, I kept fasting. Every season change, I would do anywhere from 7 days to 14 days regularly on juices of different sorts and so on and so forth. I've tried many different types of fasting. So, I stayed pretty much vegetarian those years, and the time went on. After those couple of years, I always had, aches and pains and electricity going down my leg and so on and so forth. Nothing was really resolved. I was still eating cooked food back then, even though, one of my Bibles is Arnold Herod-Mikkelsen's diet, and he has that Rational Fasting. He has a few books, which is excellent information.
I just bought it. Actually came in the mail this week.
Yeah, excellent books. Very, very. If you want health, just follow some of those directions in there about fasting and eating, and you'll be okay. So we, I continued with that fasting, everything, continue researching, continue this, that. Went back to work. I wasn't working for a few years, and then went back to work, and I went into a body shop for 4 years with my brother-in-law, and that was the worst thing I could have done for my health, load up my body with more toxins. And then I went back to my old training, which, my dad was a machinist. Right from when we grew up, he had a little machine shop in our garage, and I would always play with stuff in there. So I went back to that trade and into machine building for the automotive industry. And that was crazy. It was a lot of work, 7 days a week, 12, 14-hour shifts, making lots of money in my life. And I continued my fasting, But all the stress with all that and everything else, it came into the year of 1999, and everything was catching up to be, again, with health issues, which the kidney and the bladder thing were not 100% resolved. So in late in 99, I think it was, summer, late 99, yeah, I basically said to myself, I got to go back to Arnold Herod-Mikkelsen's diet, and I think that's when I got my first computer in 1999. So I started looking on the internet for some information, and I think there was maybe 1 or 2 websites on raw foods and on fasting, and Arnold Herod was in there.
So 1 or 2.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it was. Yeah. I watched the industry just blossom from.
Now there's so much information, you don't know what's right anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot of garbage. But anyway, so yeah, I in late '99, it was I was doing the research, and then it was the January of 2000. I said to myself, "That's it. I'm going on raw foods," and that's what I did. January of 2000, I never looked back. I stopped eating all cooked foods, eating fruits.
How do you feel? Like, what's the difference in feelings? I noticed when I'm eating and when I'm fasting, as soon as I eat a cooked lunch, like I want to go to sleep. Like that's it. Yeah. Put me to bed.
It's because.
What's the difference in feeling to someone who's never
who
only eats cooked foods?
Obstructions. Once you wake up the body, you have more senses, more feeling. People are eating only cooked foods mainly. Their bodies are asleep and their senses are asleep. That's why you hear people, the guy was never sick a day in his life and then he dropped dead. They have no senses. They don't feel what's going on with their bodies. They're not in tune with the body. So part of eating live foods is to liven up your body, to wake it up, to know the senses. Pain is good. Canary in the gold mines, they have them there for a reason. You want to have these senses. When you're more sensitive, you're too sensitive. No, I want to be too sensitive because these things are not good for the body, and we want to sense them. So it can warn you for the dangers of these things, pollutants and so on and so forth. So senses are good. So I went on to the raw foods, mainly fruits, a lot of salads, a lot of seaweeds, and it was going good. The first month, I think from back then, I was weighing about 185 pounds. I was pretty big, always working out a little bit here and there. And I dropped to like 140 in 1 month.
That's where I'm going now. I started 186. I dropped 20 pounds in 24 days.
That happens quick when you're built on waste. So I lost all that, and I had developed all open sores all over my body. That's kidney related. Kidneys aren't working properly, comes out of your skin because the skin is the third kidney. So, all family members, looking at you and stuff, and they're seeing all these open sores. They think, "What are you doing? Something's wrong," I was determined, screw you guys, I'm going down this path, no matter what anybody says.
The family turns into the crazy one. Yeah. Oh, look, we went nuts. I get that.
Colds and flus, one after another, dumps, mucus coming out, just constantly. This kept going on for a couple of years. It actually took me it took me, I think, close to 2 years to get to my average weight, which I usually stay around now to about 160 pounds. You know, now I do a lot more fasting, so I usually anywhere between 150 and 160, depends what I'm doing. But back, my average weight back then was about 160, 165-ish on raw food. And I was freezing for 2 years, even in the summer, just freezing, just the body going through a tremendous detoxification. And then everything started balancing out, and I started feeling really lighty, airy, and I was doing more research, and minerals are missing from the food. So started getting into the mineral addition into the diet through angstrom minerals. Those are supposed to be the best, so on and so on. And they helped. And things started turning around, started getting ground, and my hair started to all come back. It was all falling out back then, going great. All started turning dark again, growing back nice and thick and strong. And in 2004, came across information about using ocean water to grow your foods. Because ocean water has all the minerals, and it's identical to human blood in its profile. It's almost identical, mineral to mineral ratio. And the mammals...
That's crazy. I thought you can't grow stuff with salt water. You can't drink salt water, right?
You dilute it is the key.
Oh, okay.
There was a fellow named Dr. Maynard Murray, Sea Energy Agriculture. You can find his book. Talks about all the experiments he did with seawater and growing plants and then feeding those plants to animals. And the differences were night and day from animals who ate regular organically grown or conventionally grown versus the ocean-grown foods. They were healthier, stronger, no diseases, ate less, they were satisfied quicker, and so on and so forth, just by eating food grown with ocean water. And when you taste food grown with ocean water, you won't want to eat anything else.
Really?
Yeah, because it's grown in the garden. The
flavors. If you don't live near an ocean, how would you...
I ended up becoming a distributor. There was a company harvesting ocean water called OceanGrown.com.
Okay.
In Florida, and we became a Canadian distributor back then in 2004.
So it'd be like a concentrated ocean water?
Yeah.
And then you add water? And...
Yeah. It's still liquid. They just concentrate it down so it can ship more economically. So we became a distributor. I started growing wheatgrass back then and all kinds of sprouts with ocean water. And my health just went crazy because I'm doing all these sprouts. I started guzzling anywhere from 16 ounces of wheatgrass a day.
Wow. That's a lot of wheatgrass.
Yeah, I did it every day, and things just got better and better and better. And this is what I was telling you before. I used to get compliments all the time. Your skin, your hair, what are you doing? Raw foods, wheatgrass. Yeah. And that's all I used to tell people. So, I did a lot of that, and for 2 years, everything was going great, but then it started kind of plateauing. Things weren't, I wasn't getting the same results from drinking all this wheatgrass. So, what am I drinking all this wheatgrass for? All this works. I cut back to 4 ounces. I didn't see any difference. So I kept doing it. The year was going on, and my health was great. Everything was good. I was teaching a lot of people about growing sprouts with ocean water and about raw foods. Back then, we used to do a lot of shows. We used to try and get into the markets for the farmers to, put it in their food supply, put it in our food supply. They're not interested in that. I had some farmers buy it for their personal garden, but not for the foods they grew to sell. It was disgusting what I've seen in the industry that feeds humanity. It's disgusting the mentality and the.
It's all profit based.
Yeah. It's all about money. They will not spend anything for nutrition. It's all about yield, and the things they're using for yield does not produce quality food. Yeah. It's all chemical based.
You're stretching.
And even in the organic side, it's not what you think. Anyway, I've met a few farmers who were right into it, very few. And we're doing good work with the soil, and you can taste it when you buy it. Mm-hmm. Now you see a lot of organic. You buy some organic, it's completely tasteless, and you buy others, it's got taste. And then it's the other way around. In the conventional growing, you buy most of it's tasteless. Then every once in a while you get something, wow, this has got flavor. Because they must be doing something right, even though they're not organic.
I'm a big fan of biodynamic farming. Biodynamic. I think it's a little bit more in tune with
based
nature.
on the teachings of Rudolf Steiner. Yeah, he was amazing. If you want to do some research on that.
Yeah, I know.
He was into a lot of good stuff. He could see things, fields, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so after, many years doing farm shows, this and that, at the beginning it seemed like it was going to take off, this ocean water thing for the farmers. Then it just started fizzling and fizzling, and it wasn't doing as well. And then we got a complaint from what's it called here?
CFIA?
From Canada.
Canada
That
Food
runs after
Inspection
food. Yeah, Canadian
CFIA,
food.
yeah.
You need to register this product, blah, blah, blah. I go, it's not a fertilizer. This is a mineralizer. There's no such thing. No, it falls in this category. We didn't want them to spend the money and go into all that route and all the paperwork. And it just fizzled to pretty much nothing, that business. And it was sad because this was one way that the food supply could be brought to a much better quality,
Higher standard.
Yeah, and we've seen the tests with animals. Like you have an area where the animals eat the grass off of. You would spray half, the animals go right there.
They know. The animals know. Yeah, they're more in tune.
And you have the cattle grazing all day long on a regular field. You put them on a field sprayed with ocean water, 2-3 hours are done. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't see something there, you're blind.
Yeah.
So this is the stuff we were getting, and animals are healthier and so on and so forth. But there was also earlier work on with ocean water. I'll touch on to that a little bit by a fellow named René Quinton. I don't know how to pronounce it properly. Quinton, I think. He's a French scientist from the late 1800s. That's some really interesting work that this man did. He was, I think, one of the original ones that saw that ocean water was the same as human blood. And he started doing research with stray dogs. He would get some ocean water, dilute it down to the consistency of blood, because it's more concentrated than blood. Blood is more diluted. And he would inject it into dogs.
Into their blood.
Into their bloodstream. And doing all these different experiments, he found when he diluted it with distilled water, they would die. When he diluted it with spring water, they would thrive. Anyway, he did a lot of these experiments, and he did a lot of different tests on different species. What he found, he called this ocean plasma. He would harvest the ocean water at a certain time of year when the plankton bloom was at a certain level. And he called it ocean plasma. And he was able to use it on all different species. It's universal blood. He was able to completely transfuse the dog's blood equal to its weight with ocean water. And the dog thrived.
Wow.
The cut would heal quickly, scab would fly off, and the dog would be much healthier than before. So there's no blood, complete, pure ocean water running through its veins.
Wow.
And the test was redone. It's on one of the websites from doctors. I think it was in the 50s or 60s by other doctors. They redid this test with success to a dog.
Wow.
So, and not only that, this man, after he's seen all these experiments he did with animals, he started helping humans. He helped cure all kinds of diseases, thousands of people, injecting ocean plasma in people. He found just an injection once a week or twice a week, a small amount for several weeks or months, and people would turn their health completely around.
So when you say ocean plasma, is it an extract from the water?
It's an extract at a certain time of year where the plankton bloom.
So, but it's just the water.
Just the water, nothing else.
And
diluted down.
And they give it the name plasma because
diluted down because blood's plasma.
Okay.
So diluted down to the consistency. I think our blood is about 4 times diluted compared to ocean water. You dilute it and inject it. And you can see there's a bunch of stuff to show testimonials of people from back then. Like night and day difference from babies to adults and so on and so forth.
Think my hair will grow back if I...
You can try, man. There's nothing to lose. But now we have much more things that we can work with.
Okay.
I'm talking about the late 1800s. Anyway, after this, how they congratulated this guy. They put him in the army and they ended up killing him. Probably, I think they probably killed him because the pharmaceutical industry just came to birth at that time. They banned it, made it illegal in France.
Salt water. Ocean water.
Ocean water treatment.
Wow.
There's a statue of him in France, in one of the main centers of René Quinton. And because he's a hero in the French people. There's a book that he wrote. It's all in French. There's not much translated in English, but whatever's in English, go read it because it's very interesting.
If there's any translators out there, please let's get an English copy going. We got to spread this information.
Yeah. So that's a little bit the background of the ocean water. What you can do with ocean water. If you can get some ocean water, you can buy some ocean water diluted.
How about using sea salts?
You can do it with sea salt.
recipe?
Maynard Murray started with ocean water originally, and then the Gulf Coast, where he was from out of Florida, became too toxic, so he started getting some dried sea salts. But through his testing, he found that the sea salts were not as good as the actual ocean water.
Because there was something else in the water.
Because, once you remove the water, you're removing the spark of life. Even if you put water back, you can't create ocean water. Because all the gases are gone and so on and so forth. So it's never ocean water, but it'll help. So
I can experiment in my garden this spring for sure.
Yeah, you make a mix, 2,000 parts per million of dissolved solids. You measure with a TDS meter. Most plants can handle that of diluted sea salts.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to do it with dried crystals. Because the ratio, I don't know. Because our product, we were mixing 100 to 1 because it was liquid, and that would work great. If you have straight ocean water, about 25 to 30 to 1 would work.
Interesting.
And you stir it up, spray it on the leaves. Plants just love it. The taste, the aromas, the colors are more intense. The shelf life.
I'm going to try on half of my garden. I'm going to plant the same things. I'm going to do an
Don't,
experiment.
you'll regret it.
Just do the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I used to do the sprouts, right? My sprouts, my wheatgrass, my sunflower sprouts, pea sprouts, and everything. I would be able to, after cutting harvest, put them in the Ziploc bags in the fridge, 3 weeks, no problem. I would try ones on the market that you buy that are all over the place nowadays, all kinds. You're lucky if they lasted a week.
Wow.
That's a huge difference in the shelf life. So what does it do when you consume these foods? It's the same thing, if you have common sense. And animals, they'll tell you, you do half the field, they're going to go right for the ocean water.
Interesting. Okay, so after your whole ocean water adventure here, so that sort of fizzled out, although you're still a strong believer in it. What happened next for you on your journey?
Okay, so as this is all going on, I met a friend of mine, and he was into... he was a musician, and he had been doing a lot of research on frequency, on tuning of the music industry. And as you know, the music industry today is the standardized tuning universal around this planet is A equals 440 hertz. He was researching this for 20 years about A equals 432, and Rudolf Steiner is one who knows about this because he has a student called Maria Reynolds, who wrote a book specifically on this tuning A equals 432. It's called Scales. I can't remember the name of the book. Maria Reynolds.
We'll look it up. We'll put it in the comments of the podcast.
But anyway, it's a nice thick book, inexpensive too, and it's hard to find. It's C equals 128, which is in the scale of 432. He called C the prime note, I believe, Rudolf Steiner. So he knew this. He could see it. All the animals, nature, it's all tuned in A equals 432. And through all our experiments and all the research and so on and so forth, what I know without a doubt is 432 is the number of creation. If you add up 432 is 9. 9 is divine, without a doubt. Everything sits within that because it is creation. When you're using 440, you're in dissonance. Dissonance means you're out of whack in vibratory, whatever you want to call it, with our living organism, and it stresses you. So when you're listening to 440, you think you're grooving, but your cell-wise are getting stressed out. And if you ask any musician that do concerts, or if you've ever went to a loud concert, the next day you feel hungover. Have you ever experienced that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. It's the frequency. I have friends that we introduced this frequency to that play in bands. And one of them, he played out in the East End a lot. And he told me a story. After they started to switch to 432, he wasn't going back. He was playing in some bar in Pickering. And he says, every time they play or another band plays, there's a fight. He goes, they went the first time to play in 432. There was no fights that night. They go, there's something strange here. They went the second time, there was no fights. And when we went to watch the first time a band play in 432, you can see the body language in the audience is different.
And I think people are catching on now, in the spiritual community especially, like they're making 432 hertz crystal bowls. They're making 432, like a friend of mine has a company make spirit drums, which is like a steel drum, all tuned to 432. And when you play it, you feel the difference.
It's 432, you can feel it in the heart area. the feeling.
Yeah.
440, you'll feel it in the head. And now there was people pushing 444, which is the love frequency, 528. The research we've done, you start playing in 440 and higher, it shatters the aura like glass. We've done tests with Kirlian photography. And when I see people going, I shake my head because...
Kirlian photography is a photography that captures your aura, if you're not familiar with that.
What we can't see with the naked eye.
Yeah.
It was developed by Russians, I believe, originally. Yeah. So we've done tests with that, and it shattered the aura like glass. We had a friend of ours who volunteered to be tested on. We have a way to introduce these frequencies to water, and you drink the water. So we didn't tell him what we were doing. And, we did the different frequencies, and he would just take a sip of the water and then go do the Kirlian photography within minutes from each other. The lady in the room was going, "What do you guys do? I've never seen anything like this." Because
I got to get one of those cameras.
It was completely changing the auric field. But like when we gave him 528, which he didn't know, he went like this. Oh boy, he felt it. And he went in to do he felt it. And anyway, we look at the photograph, it was shattered. The aura was shattered like glass. And then I think the last one we did was 432, which it mended to some degree. But
I'd love to see some of these pictures if you still have them.
I have some of them.
Yeah, please.
He was affected by that experiment. Let me put it that way. You don't want to be playing with 528, folks. You can do whatever you like. I'm just warning you.
Okay, so you get into the frequencies now. You're figuring that stuff out.
So, like I said, 432 is the whole. It's the number of creation. 528 is an extraction. Just like, let me give you an example of chemical extraction of a vitamin or mineral. Let's look at it that way. They only cause unbalance in the body. So, we played with frequency. And in this time frame and years are going by, I hear about the Kesh Foundation.
So tell for people who don't know who he is. Who is Kesh?
Miran Kesh is an Iranian nuclear physicist, scientist, and he discovered that gravity and magnetic fields work together, and within a plasma, as an energy field.
He's got a new sort of, I guess,
it's not
science,
new.
Or a different than the mainstream, an alternative.
Yeah, it's not mainstream because mainstream is looking at matter state.
Yeah.
They're looking through a very narrow window. When you get into the plasma world, you take your blinders off, you're in the universe. Because 99% of all things within the universe, within us, plants, planets, everything, so on, is all made up of plasma. 99.9% is all plasma.
And it's controversial in a sense where that the mainstream can't sort of confirm its existence because the tools that they use,
they can't have the tools.
It doesn't fit in within their understanding, right?
But there's ways of seeing it. There's actual people who can see auric fields.
Okay.
And they can see it. For us, that if we can't see auric fields, you can see the fields in ice.
So you'd say plasma energy is almost like a spiritual, the etheric, like the next dimension that we can't see, like matter and all these kind of things. Okay. Yeah. So you start getting into this. You meet.
Yeah, I didn't know. He was doing some teachings online, some free teachings, and they were occasionally happening, and so on and so forth. I think it was one a week back then, 4 years ago. And then after, I started, watching all I could find on all his interviews and so on and so forth. I was intrigued because he's talking about, how do the planets continuously move with no wings, no engine, no fuel? How do they do it? Where's that energy coming from? So that got me very interested. And what we understand now, it's gravitational magnetic fields within the plasma. Every plasma, which is us as well, has a gravitational magnetic field strength. The gravitational is the taking, which is the stronger fields, and the magnetical is the giving. And plasma is always seeking a balance. So as me and you sitting here, you and I, there's a figure 8 of plasmatic gravitational magnetic fields moving between us two, and with everybody else that is watching, and with everybody else around the planet, and with all the planets, animals, plants. These fields were always interacting because we're part of one, just like every cell in your body is individual, but it's part of the whole. Mm-hmm. So that's plasma. We're all interacting, and it's always seeking balance. So if one is stronger than the other, the weaker is going to take from the stronger to try and find that balance. That's what plasma is, the basics of it. So, looking into the Kesh stuff for about a year, and then I got put off of it for whatever reason. It wasn't time.
Yeah.
It was about another year later, I started watching it again, and then started going on a few months. And then
something kept drawing you back.
And then they announced that they were opening the Kesh University in Italy. Because he was in Belgium, and he ended up moving to Italy. And it was this university. It was right near, about an hour away from my parents' hometown.
So that's how you take it, like a synchronicity. When something like that happens, it's like, okay, time to go to Italy.
I'm going to Italy. I didn't know how, I don't know what, where, I didn't have the money. So I was planning on selling my house. Anyway, I'm telling my parents, they go, "You go to Italy." So anyway, they helped me out. So I made the decision to go. I put the registration in, signed up, got accepted. And here I'm planning to go to Italy. So I end up going to Italy.
Nice.
And get to Italy. I rented a place and got myself a bicycle to ride to the school every day, and so on and so forth. And things were going good. In the meantime, I'm continuing my fasting.
What year is this now?
This was in 2015 when I went to Italy.
Okay.
In the fall of 2015. And I came back in 2016 May. Yeah, I was supposed to stay 3 years. The course was originally 3 years. Things changed. My dad passed away when I was in Italy.
Condolences.
Yeah, thanks. So I wanted to come back for my mother. But things changed within the Kesh industry as well, the Kesh teachings. He didn't like the way it was going. There wasn't many of us students there, but he didn't like people being away from his family and stuff. He's there. Doesn't seem right. That people can do it. We can do it all online. And we'll go, and so that's the route it went. It went strictly all online. So there's private teachings that they teach online every single day. I'm still part of it, and there's a free one they do every week, public teaching. So I've been at this now for a couple of years now, as a student of the Kesh Foundation, and the plasma technology is vast. It touches anything you can think of: energy, agriculture, medical. Anything you can think of.
So are there any examples in real life of things that it's been able to change or increase or heal? Is there anything that...
Well, he worked with many ill people with different diseases for many years. People with ALS and cancers and so on and so forth, helping them plasmatically. He stopped doing that because after he started teaching, the people out there have to do the experimental and the processing with this technology. He's not here to do it for us. He's here to give us the information, and we need to learn and understand. His teaching is not a spoon feeding us. His teaching is to for us to be able to gain an understanding of what it is, so we can expand on it. It's not a monkey see, monkey do. He's not that type of teacher. There's no certificate from this university. It's as he explains, from what you learn today, you might know, your soul might pick it up in 20, 30, 50 years from now. So we can't base it on a stupid test.
Interesting.
It's completely, yeah. It's a school of opening up your creativity, not indoctrinating you in A, B, C, 1 + 1. This is not Kesh Foundation.
So you come back, you start doing the online, and do you use the plasma into the fast?
So as all this is happening with the schooling of Kesh and everything, just before that was happening, I was I missed a part. I'm going to back up a little bit. It was just during the time we were doing the research with the frequencies. Always looking to better myself in my health. Some science came through and started studying it on going into the high fats and leaving all the sweet fruit behind, because fruit is toxic. The sweet fruit is the sugars are acid forming. So you got to get into the alkaline side and get more into the greens and the fats. So I went down that route. I had a friend of mine who was the same age as me. He went down to study with somebody in the States, I'm not going to mention names. Spent a lot of money researching with a microscope, microscopy, and so on and so forth. And, so we were doing this diet according to the science, getting into the high fats, the good fats, the olive oils and the avocados and the so on, nuts and seeds, coconut oils, tons of greens. I was still doing a lot of sprouting and so on and so forth. But get rid of all this
How did you feel?
fruit. At the beginning, I felt great. And back then, I was working out with weights. I was always on and off over the years. And I was doing really heavy weights for strength. Like short reps.
I feel like those types of diets are optimized, but not longevity. It's like you want like a quick.
It's a stimulating diet. But for health, it's tear yourself apart. So that's what happened to me. I built a lot of strength. I was getting really strong. I went up to 185 pounds again because I was just building for strength. I was doing 4 workouts a month, 1 workout a week.
That's it.
And I was gaining a lot of strength. But all my joints and everything was killing me. As this is going, I believed in the science so much I became blinded by it. And what was happening, I started losing my memory and things. And I was putting it off.
Aren't the high fats supposed to be good for your brain?
These are detox symptoms. Yeah. These are detox symptoms. I was believing it. So I kept doing it. It was up until almost 3 years till, everything's falling apart in my body, losing all my hair. My teeth are getting destroyed. My joints, my hips were popping out of place. My ribs were popping out of place. I'm going, what's going on? Then I got this really bad fungus infection. And I lost so much weight. And in 1 month, I went down like 140 again. I thought I was going to die because I'm going, what the hell's going on? My friend's going, well, we're doing all this microscopy and this and that. Anyway, he ended up dying.
No way.
His heart stopped.
Sorry to hear that shit.
His heart stopped. And for me, the one day the light went on. I'm going, holy jeez, I got to go back to what I know. This is not working. I was talking to another couple of friends who were doing it, and they weren't feeling good. I go, there's something wrong with this. I'm going back to what I know. Fruits, greens, and so on, and keep the fasting and so on and so forth. So, bang, I switched back. I suffered for 6 months with severe joint pains when I went back on fruit. Severe. And I'm thinking all the negative thoughts going through your head, is this correct? But, I'm going, no, I'm going back. I know this is correct. And in that time, getting back into the fruits and the herbs and so on and so forth, I was taking a few other courses, Dr. Morris and so on and so forth, just to see what it was all about, because things that he was saying aligns exactly what I knew from Arnold Laird and so on and so forth. So I was getting more heavily into the fasting again to solve my issues. In this meantime, my dad was ill with heart condition, and I was helping him with herbs and fruit, and it was helping him. I got him off a lot of medication, but he didn't want to get into the fasting, so which is okay. But his life was a lot better when we took him off so many of the medications, and I learned a lot going with my dad, down that route, and many healing reactions and many hospital visits and so on and so forth, and making doctors' heads spin with answers they couldn't answer and questions they couldn't answer, so on and so forth. Yeah. It was fun, but the last time. He was in the hospital. When was it? It was Easter before I went to Italy. I thought he was a goner, and I was in the middle of watching all the Kesh technology and so on and so forth. So like I said, he was in intensive care. It was a bad situation. The kidneys weren't working properly. They were shutting down. So I go to myself, well, I got to try and do some of this Kesh stuff. I got to try and make some of this GANS material, which is a gas in nano state. It's what we're made out of. We're not made out of water. We're in a GANS state, which is a plasmatic state. So you can make different materials from GANS, like anything. Any element you can make out of GANS, any food, any herb, you can make out of GANS. It's infinite what you can do with GANS. You're basically putting it in a semi-matter state, which opens up the structure to release its energy atomically. So it has a strong gravitational magnetic field. So the first one I made was a CH3. which is for energy. And you need iron, and you need copper nano-coated. And you put them in salt water, and it produces, it gathers CO2 sorry, not CO2. It gathers the CH3. The CO2 is a copper plate nano-coated with a zinc plate. That's for CO2 zinc oxide. But the first one I made was with the iron, and it produced CH3. And then what I ended up doing is making this bracelet with the CH3 in it, and I brought it to the hospital for my dad. He was in intensive care. So I get there, I put a little bit on his lip, a little bit on his heart, put on his kidneys, put the bracelet on. No, I didn't put the bracelet on the first day, sorry. And we go back home. Next day I got there. He was a little bit better. They were weaning him off some of the drugs. I'm going, what's going on?
Wow.
So I went home, I made a bracelet. I thought, we're making a bracelet. I put the thing in, made a bracelet, and went the next day, put the bracelet. He was getting better each day. Anyway, from intensive care, it was, we went in, it was on a Saturday. The next day was Sunday. It was Easter. So we're there, we go on to Saturday, and the doctor's talking, he's feeling amazing. I want to go home. The doctors come in. The doctors come in. Their eyes were, like, they couldn't believe what was going on, because what they're doing, this doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. So you can tell they're in shock by this.
It's a medical miracle.
Yeah. I didn't say anything.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't. They thought they did some medical miracle. Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, they go, well, tomorrow, if this test and so on, we'll release you. So yeah, we end up coming home on Easter that day.
Wow.
And he was feeling good. So I seen what the power of the GANZ materials can do myself.
Interesting.
So he gets home, and then, in the meantime, I'm getting ready to go to Italy. So I left for Italy. It was September, because the school started October 1st in 2015. So we're back to where I left.
Finished off. Okay. So then the school comes back. Yeah, no problem.
So much stuff's happening.
So then you come back. You're doing this thing. And now you have this. You're back on your fast. You're developing your own fast.
Yeah. Before I went to Italy, I had already started to develop the Master Fast.
So it was
from what I've learned from Kesh, and from all my experiences and all my teachers through natural healing. I already had made it up. We already had put up a Facebook and a website just before I left to Italy.
You missed one story. I think you told me about you did cacao for a while.
Oh yeah, the cacao days. And that was in the just before the high fat thing. I burnt out my adrenal glands completely.
So the cacao in the coffee can do the same things. People are drinking too much coffee. Yeah, the adrenals.
Yeah. I with the raw cacao, when that came out, it was the worst thing I did to myself. I completely burnt out my adrenals.
So you're an extremist. You find something, you go all the way.
Yeah. And
I know someone like that.
So it's not a food. You got to understand, nuts and seeds. Those are the souls of the plants. That's what we're taught in plasma science. They're there to carry on the species. And if we consume those, destroy them, we destroy the experience of that soul in matter state.
Very
so
deep.
All plants have souls. So,
vegetarians, don't worry, you're okay. You're still eating.
That's what I'm saying. We're looking at the plasmatic side of things, not the matter side.
Okay.
We're looking at everything has a soul. If you're eating plants, especially a lot of greens, or let's say you have a plate of lentils or a bread, or you're killing a lot of souls. It's not killing. You don't kill anything. You're discontinuing their experience in matter state.
It's very interesting theoretically, because I never had it explained like this before, but it makes sense. So then, does it tie in well with the mucusless diet? So the things that they're recommending.
Well, let's put it this way: if we look at matter state, and we look at the species of man compared to animal kingdom, we are closest to the primates. And what do primates eat? Fruit mainly. Now, when you look at the fruit, anything, whatever, an apple. When the apple is ready, it falls from the tree. The tree gives it, and we eat the apple. If we even swallow the seeds, if you don't chew them, they go through you. They don't digest seeds. Of all plants, they don't digest unless you break them down. Mm-hmm. And they go through and they get carried on to
regenerate themselves.
And if it's a big seed, you toss it and it gets planted. So you don't destroy or stop that soul from experiencing itself in matter state. But when you're doing a green, for example, like a spinach, whatever, chicory or whatever, if you don't let it go to seed, you're avoiding those seeds coming to fruition and spreading. Mm-hmm. So karmically, for man, fruit is the least karmic.
Okay.
In my opinion. But we're going to a whole other level that...
So with chicory and kale, if you just kind of leaves but then it grows, is that okay?
You're stopping the seeds from producing.
Okay.
So that's why the fruit is the least karmic.
So that's what the main bulk.
Yeah, like some greens have thousands of seeds in one plant, depending on what plant that is, right? Tiny seeds and be thousands. Some, maybe 100 or whatever. So you got to understand that, if we're going to eat more greens, karmically, it's more negative versus going more to the fruit diet.
Okay.
Got that?
Got it.
We're looking at the plasmatic side and the soul side.
It's different. It's interesting concepts here. I think you should write a book. By
vegans believe they're not doing any harm. I was raw vegan for many years, and I'll be first in line supporting the veganism because I don't like animals being harmed. But harming a soul of an animal and harming a soul of a plant, on the spiritual sense, they are equal. If you think an animal or a human is above, you're mistaken.
On the same level. Right?
We are all part of one creation, and we are all equal. So we are showing and experiencing that we don't need to consume physical foods.
You're talking about breatharianism now.
Beyond.
Okay, so let's before we get to breatharianism, let's talk how you developed this fast. You started a Facebook
So
group.
before I went to Italy, I already started the Facebook group. I had started. I didn't have a name for a master fast. Early 2015, I think it was. I put my first video on dry fasting. Just before that, I started experimenting with dry fasting.
So dry fasting, for those of you who don't know, is no food, no water for extended period of time. It could be intermittent dry fasting, but
just air.
Just air.
Yeah. First one I did 3 days. Right. And if you read Arnold Ehret's book, he touched on it briefly in his Mucus diet. Most people missed it.
How important would you say the dry fasting component is of fasting?
It's the component.
It's the component.
Master fast is a glorified dry fast.
It's a lot of dry fasting.
It's a lot of dry fasting. It's the component. We put a name to it.
Well, what does it do? What happens in dry fasting? It's like the best for detox. The system just really... Because most people would think, and the response I'm getting from my experience is like, are you okay? You're going to get sick? You're going to die? You need to drink. You need to drink water. How do you know?
This is what we're told, right?
3 days?
Look, okay, when I was growing up, I don't remember anybody had bottled water with them. And people were much less issues with health problems or allergies. I never remember people with allergies in my classes and stuff when I was growing up. Today, everybody's got bottled water. Every second person's got allergies. Everybody's got sickness and so on and so forth. So just looking at that concept alone, that people drinking all this water, it's not helping humanity. And what we found is water actually dehydrates you because...
Wait a minute. Say that again?
Water dehydrates you at the cellular level.
That's against everything I've ever thought in my life.
Yeah, I stopped drinking water over 3 years ago when I started dry fasting.
Really?
And when I went through the phase of the high fat and destroyed my health, I lost about 3/4 inch of my height, which is about 2-something centimeters. When I started dry fasting, back on the fruit and herbs, and stopped drinking water, I regained my 3/4 inch height back.
Interesting.
So, if you understand what I just said,
I'm trying. We went through a lot here.
That is how the body heals when it gets hydrated. You can't do that through dehydration. Gain your height back. You gain it from hydration. Mm-hmm. Hydration is about hydrogen, not water. Where do you get your hydrogen from? Well, you can get it from the air, or you can get it from certain plants, like water-rich plants. Fruits is one of the best for man to get your hydration. And dry fasting is the trigger to rehydrate at the cellular level. I'll give you an example. Bears. They're big animal.
Bigger than me, that's for sure.
Do you know they go 7 months without food and water? What's it called? Hibernation. How did they get that big in a few months? You ever think about that?
Interesting.
So that's not the only animal that hibernates, but I'm just giving you that example because it's a massive animal, and its main diet is berries and some greens. It eats fish and so on and so forth, some meats, but the majority of its diet is plant-based, and the majority of its diet is non-diet. It's not eating and not drinking because it hibernates for most of the year. Now there's I can't remember which Indian mentioned, it's in Filnoff's book. He's the guy who wrote the book on dry fasting, a Russian doctor, Dr. Filnoff, and he still has a clinic. We have somebody that went to his clinic 2 times. She went there in Russia, but he talks about in his book about how I can't remember which Indians it was. They find the bear meat a delicacy if they can kill the bear once it comes out of hibernation. Before, they can't eat it. It's horrible taste. But after it's hibernated, if they get it then, it's a very sweet delicacy.
Interesting.
So you have to understand what's happening in dry fasting. When you dry fast, you're going to accessing within a source of infinite energy, and what I like to say is access to your blueprint in the ether, which is perfect. We all have a perfect blueprint, even though you're not born perfect. Each one of us has a perfect blueprint in the ether, and the only way to gain access to it is go within through dry fasting.
Okay.
Nothing, no food, no water, and you get access to that.
Well, you know what? A lot of the religious texts talk about going in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights, going to the mountain.
Yeah, we understand why.
These experiences where they isolate themselves and they fast.
Stopping digestion completely is the only way to get access to your blueprint and get the body into a deep, eliminative, healing mode. That's what dry fasting does. And that's why it's so powerful. So, we can't dry fast all the time, most of us. We're not breatharianism, because there are people who live on no food, no water.
I met one once, actually.
So our belief system doesn't allow us to go to that route completely yet. That's the only thing that's holding us back, because we've been conditioned to believe we need to eat physical foods. We get...
As Italians, that's our life, right?
Exactly. We get more than 80% of our nourishment through the air we breathe. Less than 20% comes from physical foods. And most of the physical foods we eat take more energy than they give you. So we're not eating 24 hours. How are we getting our energy the rest of the day? We're getting it through the air. And it's not through oxygen. About almost 80%, I believe, is nitrogen. And that's where we get our energy, because nitrogen is a plasmatic state. And our body is in a vacuum state. Nothing passes the walls within our body when we eat or drink. It's all plasmatic field interaction. There's a field of figure 8 of these foods going through us, interacting, and the fields are creating the matter state we see. Not matters. Anything we put within us turns into a GANS semi-matter state, just the way our body's in a GANS state.
GANS again is?
Gas in nanostate.
Gas in nanostate.
If you believe carbon cannot be put in a semi-matter state, then pinch yourself and see. We're made out of mainly carbon and many other elements. So everything we've been taught is bullcrap. We're going on to things that are based on creation. So when we're breathing in this nitrogen, it goes into the lungs through ultraviolet light. We get an exchange happening where we have oxygen being created through the bloodstream, and everything else that we need through energy, which is our lymphatic system, which is attached to physicality for man. The lymphatic system is our energy system. It's 4 times bigger than the blood system. The blood system is our sewer system. We're taught the opposite, which is attached to our emotional side. And breath is also another way. Our physicality is attached to emotion by breathing. So that's why we're, physical matter, we're breathing.
And most of us don't breathe properly. We breathe up high in our chest. We don't do deep breathing. We don't take time to breathe.
Deep breathing is not where we need to go either. That's another story.
Okay. So for the next podcast, we'll talk about breathing.
So, we're breathing in this nitrogen, we're getting the exchanges, and we're getting everything we need, and that's how we build our energy. Now, the problem is why we can't do it 24 hours a day like some people could is because of obstructions within our body. And where do these obstructions come from? Come from mainly our diet. Like, I teach that, I'd like to share that the seed of all disease is emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Everything starts from emotion, from a thought, intent, and emotion. Creates a seed and then manifests into physicality. Whether it's health or disease, there's a seed planted. And every time you eat, every single bite, no matter what it is, there's an emotion experience attached to that every bite. And these seeds are planted. So if you're eating foods that are obstructive, cooked foods, especially dairy products, animal products, grains, these foods are very, very obstructive in our body. And this is why we get sick. Because not only do they cause an emotional seed, they cause a physical obstruction. Now, once we're full of obstructions, slowly but surely things start happening. We start getting aches and pains, things start shutting down, our eyesight starts to go, we start losing our hair. These are how things start happening where we go into a diseased state.
Okay? Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is what we need to reverse to get to a healthy, balanced state. The body can only see unbalance and balance. It can't see anything else. It can't see the names of cancer, diabetes, and heart disease that medical mafia made up. Those names belong to them. Give them back to them. They own them. It's their property. You take them on, you're going to take on those diseases as well.
So what's the best way to get back into balance?
Okay, so I started with my dry fasting videos. The 3-day, then I did a 5-day, then I did a 7-day. In the meantime, I'm working on developing and putting together a cleanse based on everything I know. In this time that everything's happening, a friend of mine comes to my home, and he goes, I don't know if he had it with him, a Welch's grape juice. He goes, or he just mentioned, he goes, one of my friend's brother healed his lung cancer with the Welch's grape juice. I can't remember if he had the juice or he mentioned it. I go, Welch's grape juice is cooked, right? Mm-hmm. It's cooked. I've already done that in 1990. I was raw as law, right? I was living raw lifestyle. So another time came around, we were discussing things, my friend, blah, blah. The second time, the light went on through the Kesh teachings. Holy shit, I missed it.
It's funny, the synchronicity comes and says, you watch it now? Here, I'm giving you a hint.
I go, no, because of my experience of the power of the cooked Concord, and then the teachings of what happens when we cook materials. We open up their structures to release their energy atomically. They become more powerful. The issue is the foods that we cook and eat. It depends what they are. If you're doing vegetables, for example, they're less obstructive than meats or dairy or so on that are cooked. So when we're doing a fruit juice, it doesn't leave obstructions, what I found. It's actually a very powerful cleanser. And the reason it clicked is because of my experience.
When you went through all that shit
20
years ago.
So learning, being taught through the Kesh special technology, I go, holy mac, if we create a gradient, it'll be even more powerful. How do we create a gradient? That's a bit of lemon to it. And there's Master Fast. That's how Master Fast started.
So the Master Fast is a lot of dry fasting in your window.
We'll go through it.
Your window. Yeah. Okay. So tell us about it.
So the main thing we use to sustain ourselves through the Master Fast system is the grape juice with lemon. So we get the Concord grape juice. Concord is not the only thing you can use. You can use many different types of juices. I believe there's a different fruit on every continent or country you can use. Got to be dark, and it's got to be something that you can juice readily. So we found so far that Concord grapes work. Any dark grape works. That's an older strain are stronger. Berries, dark berries,
So
black
berries like
cherry,
blueberry, blackberry.
they'll all work.
Acai.
Yeah, that'll work.
Pomegranate.
Pomegranate will work. Watermelon will work. Cranberry. Cranberry is a little tough to drink, but you can mix. So there's many things you can use. But the Concord is so readily available, especially in North America. You find it everywhere, especially now. It's
I
everywhere
love it.
now.
It's my favorite. I grew up drinking every day of my lunch was a juice box of Concord grape juice.
Yeah.
Every single day, I think it was getting me ready for this. Because now that's all I drink.
Which kid doesn't like grape
Oh,
juice?
no, it's great.
Remember the Lolas?
I got my kids drinking.
Remember the Lolas?
Yeah,
Were you around when they?
I remember. Yeah, they're
The big thing with frozen?
Yeah, frozen.
Okay.
One side was like this,
Yeah,
one side
yeah.
was like that.
Yeah, that was the grape, the Concord grape, I believe. But anyway, so yeah.
So you add the lemon.
We add the lemon and a little bit of lemon. You don't need much. Through a quart or liter, you add 1 or 2 lemons max. Even a few drops will do. Some people are sensitive to lemons. The issue is nobody is sensitive to fruit. If you have a sensitivity to fruit, it's because your sewer systems are completely plugged up. Your GI tract, your lymphatic system is all plugged up, backed up. There's no such thing as being allergic to fruit. It's trying to clean you out. You're getting a reaction because it's trying to purge. So you just got to keep going until it gets through, and then these allergies go away. So we drink the juice all day long. And because of what happened with my experience, and I don't want to get people in a serious situation where they can hurt themselves, we use a support system. That's why Master Fast is a system. It's not a grape juice fast, folks. If you want to do a grape juice fast, don't come to our page. We don't support it. Especially cooked grape juice or cooked other juices. It's too powerful in this plasmatic state, the way we're doing it with the lemon. It's way too powerful. You need to support all the organs, glands, and eliminate organs. So what we use is herbs. And we developed a herb, medicine cabinet to go with Master Fast. And we support absolute minimum the kidneys, number 1. The lymphatic system, the bowels, stomach and bowels, and the glands. Those 4 areas in the body we support absolute minimum on Master Fast.
So the herbs help
Herbs, yeah. And then we put also a kidney tea. The herbs are alcoholic tinctures, which are infused for 30 to 45 days. And each formula has anywhere from 6 to 8, 20 herbs. And I like to put people on, we call it the Divine 9. It's a set of 9. It covers many more areas. And then we have the 12. I think you got the 12.
Yeah, I got the 12.
Last up to 12. It covers pretty much 90% of all conditions.
I'm going for it. I want everything.
Yeah. Completely will help you keep the body in balance and keep all the channels open. Because once you start drinking this juice, it's such a strong cleaner. We call it the liquid Drano. It starts purging all this stuff, and if there's no way out for the organs and glands to release, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. We had people that get in trouble that didn't listen. And a few people ended up in hospitals and so on because they just didn't listen. The other thing we support is you got to keep the bowels moving. The herbs helping, but also enemas, colonics, washing the colon. Very important. I like to say you need to do one at least if you're not having one bowel movement a day, but if you do them every day, it's only going to make your experience much more pleasant and much more efficient.
Yeah, I'm doing it every day.
It's only going to make it better for you, folks, because the fasting is what dislodges all these toxins, chemicals, and acids out of the body. So we want them out as quickly as possible, right? So this is what the Master Fast is doing. Now we're sipping on the juice all day long, and we're taking the herbs and the kidney tea twice a day. So in the morning, you do a kidney tea, and then we have what's called the plasma pudding, which also is another support system. Part of it's psyllium husks mixed with activated charcoal and clay, either bentonite or calcium clay or whatever. Either one are okay. So there's another plasmatic thing happening with the charcoal and the clay. The charcoal, I'll give you the example. Farmers in the fall time, they burn their fields in the fall to re-energize the land. It's not fertilizing. Now we understand it. It's plasmatically energizing the land.
Interesting.
And what do they use for poison control in hospitals? Activated charcoal. But they think it's working on a physical matter state. It's not. It can't absorb so many times itself in the matter state. Not charcoal. There's some materials that can, but not charcoal.
Yeah.
It's working on a plasmatic state to find balance. So any poison, it's going to find balance and neutralize those toxins. So anytime you're poisoned or anything like that, activated charcoal. Just keep doing that, and it'll solve their issue. So that's that. There, we're doing once a day. We call it the plasma pudding. We have ratios on the website how to do it. You mix it with the grape juice, or if you want to help a little bit of bowels, you can use a little bit of prune juice. That'll help some people move their bowels a bit. You can put lemon or not. It doesn't matter because it already has a plasmatic field in there. And you can make it watery and down it, or you can let it sit and it turns thick. Some people like even like a pudding. I try both ways, whatever turns you on. Yeah. You can add a little bit of maple syrup for children.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, or honey.
Oh, it just changed my whole life.
That's another very high state of GANS material because it's very highly cooked. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tonight they're gonna have a nice dinner tonight.
It's a pleasant fast. We do things, you know. So
surprisingly, I can't believe how much energy I have, how great I feel. You know, I'm 24 days in. People think I should be dead right now. My friends are going crazy, but I feel great.
We have a professional tennis player at over 100 days now.
Yeah.
She has only gained muscle, not lost weight, and her performance went up. She's amazing. She put a testimonial. Right? You can see
I just saw it. Yeah, I just saw it.
Professional tennis player. She's working out 5-6 hours a day,
wow.
5.5 days a week, and she did a tournament on it.
Wow. So if you guys want more information on the fast, I'll give you guys the link to the Facebook groups. A lot of files in there and the website. But one more thing I want to talk about before we go.
Dry fasting schedule.
Is dry fasting and then coming off the fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll go in. The master fast has all that part. Plus we have a dry fasting routine that we do within the master fast because master fast system is the dry fasting, glorified dry fast. So every day we have a small drinking window we start to do. Meaning when you're sleeping, you're dry fasting. Those hours count. So if you're sleeping 6 or 8 hours a day, that's part of your dry fasting. So what we do is we extend that dry fast. We start on 12 hours a day. Anybody can start on 12 hours a day. Anybody.
Go to sleep, wake up, you're almost there.
Most people need to start on 12 hours a day, especially if you have health problems and so on and so forth. If you have no dry fasting, it's a good place to start is 12 hours a day. So 12 hours a day, we're dry fasting, and 12 hours a day, we're doing our drinking of our teas, herbs, plasma pudding. That's a simple fast. We're doing our plasma pudding once. We're doing our tea and our tinctures twice. And in between, we're doing the sipping on the juice. No guzzling, we're sipping. So we keep a mouthful and we swallow. That's all we do all day long. So if anybody has blood sugars, diabetes, it's going to solve everything, both ways. Doesn't matter what the name. Those names are illusions. They're man-made. They're trademark, copywritten, and they're owned. So we're doing that. Then, at the end of every week, we're doing 24-hour dry fast. Meaning, from breakfast to breakfast is the best time to do a 24-hour. So you wake up from your whatever dry fast. So let's say you usually start 10 o'clock in the morning doing your drinking. So 10 o'clock, you do your little bit of drinking, and you don't do any drinking till the next day, 10 o'clock. So that's a 24-hour dry fast. Most people can handle 24-hour dry fast. And if you're, after over several weeks or so on and so, you get used to this, you can increase the hours daily, 12, 14. We can go up to 18, 20 hours a day, but that's for advanced people. Clean diet, practicing for dry fast for at least 1 or 2 years. We don't recommend you go to 20 hours unless you're doing that. Or if you have a severe case, then you need to resolve.
So I'm doing my monthly coming up.
Yeah.
72. Is that okay to go for, you think?
And then at the end of every month, we ask you to push to a 72, a 3-day, every month. Not everybody makes it, but it's okay because you have next month to go for it.
Push what you feel.
Yeah.
Don't.
Dailies, 12 to 20 hours. Weekly, 24 to 48. Monthly, 3 days. And then we have a season change dry, meaning a 5-day. This is for advanced. And anything over 5 days, we don't suggest without supervision. So I've done all this, and now I've worked my way up over the years. From I started on 24 hours a week, and I didn't stay long. I went to 36 right away, and I stayed on that for about a year, a little more. Then I went to 48 hours when I was in Italy. I went to 48 hours a week. And now I just switched to 3 days a week, 72 hours a week.
Soon you'll be breatharian.
I'm a part-time breatharian.
Part-time.
Yeah. We're training ourselves, we're training our belief system, because that's what's been corrupted. It's our belief system that we can't live without food and water and so on and so forth.
So tell me, after the 108, I'm aiming for 108.
Yeah.
Whatever happens to me happens. I'm going for the 108. I got it. What happens after? I'm already thinking about I'm going to want to go to Italy this summer and just eat pizza as much as possible. But what happens after 108? How do you come back to food?
We never talked about the amount of days. We suggest to clean out the GI tract. You've seen what people are releasing.
I've seen it in myself. What's coming out of me?
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. Just think about a 5-gallon pail, 18, 20-liter bucket, full of crap. That's what's in most of us, from our head to our toe. It's not only our GI tract. Every cell has plaque. To clean that out, 108 days is a good start. Seriously, it's a good start. Just think, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old,
Yeah,
how much crap did the body
deep,
build if you haven't been eating mainly just fruit, clean diet? We're built of crap. So to clean it out, we suggest absolute minimum 40 days on the master fast system to get a good cleaning of the GI tract.
And I just want to add something too. I strongly believe that a lot of the things we put in our body these days, our body doesn't know what to do with it.
Exactly.
It doesn't know if it's good or
It
bad.
doesn't recognize it.
It's like,
it's not
good
food.
stuff they know how to use right away.
Yeah.
Bad stuff eliminate. The stuff that's in between, it gets stored.
It's stored.
Where in
What
the
is the
cells,
stuff?
in the fats. Yeah, and that's where the allergies happen. That's where the disease happens, because it's an accumulation of stuff that the body does not know what to do.
It's not part of our design. So in nature, naturally, our body
Processed
cannot
foods,
recognize it. Yeah. All the processed chemicals, this,
yeah.
that, and foreign foods that are not species specific as well.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going there. Yeah.
So we suggest. I really try to push people to 108 there, the first one, because that'll give the GI tract a very good cleaning. And people are still eliminated 108 days.
Yeah.
Hard to believe. It gets less, but it's still eliminated 108 days. So what do we do once we do our master fast for 40, 60, 100, 108 days, whatever? 108 is a magical number. It's a division musically of 432. Mm-hmm. Scales, or in music, they divide or multiply by 2. So 408 times 4 is 432. That's why we pick 108. And it's in the Vedas, all that information. 432 is very vast. You can do check your information. All the dimensions of the planet, the distances, all based on 432. That's why we call it the number of creation. And we can use it as a carrier wave to transmit, if you want to put that word, information instantaneously, faster than the speed of light. Instantaneously, no time space. We've tested it and we've done it. We used to do water calls, and we used to charge people's water around the world many years ago. So I'm going in a lot of different areas here.
Yeah. So 40 is the minimum.
40 would be the absolute minimum. Some people will do it a week, 10 days.
Get used to it, feel it out.
But
You're not going to do a
honestly,
deep
folks,
cleaning, but it's good to just see how powerful you are. I think more of it's convincing yourself you can.
It's all mind.
And that's why people ask me, I say, do a weekend. Just show yourself that you can easily do that. And then go for 40, 108.
I'm going to repeat again. This is not a simple juice fast. If you want to do a juice fast, go juice some raw juices and go to another page, because we do not support juice fasting anymore. Not from what we've learned, especially in these last 2 years. This is a cooked juice avenue that it's part of our system. It's not a juice fast. It's just one of the items we use.
It's a system,
It's a system.
Okay, so let's assume I get to 108.
Yeah.
The next day I can start eating food?
No. Well, you can, but fruit.
Okay.
Breaking the fast is much more important than the fast itself.
Okay.
And breaking the fast is, what's the wording they use? Any man can fast, but it takes a wise man to break a fast. Mm. And the reason we say that is people have killed themselves breaking fast improperly. Getting off 108 days, going to eat pizza. You want to kill yourself?
It's a good way to go, I think.
You're going to put a nice blockage in there. No, seriously.
I know, no joking.
Some dairy products.
It's gonna
glue, because your intestines are very clean, fresh, and that stuff will stick like cement, like concrete in there. Wow. So you don't want to be doing that if you want to live. People have done it and they paid prices, and I'm glad they've survived. But you don't want to be doing that.
if you're doing this for health reasons, you want to make a healthy choices for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
We're not saying that you're never going to be able to want to eat the other foods, but your body's going to talk to you. And if you don't listen, you're going to know what I'm talking about when it happens. When you wake up the next morning after eating something you shouldn't have eaten, your body's going to speak loud.
Yeah.
Aches, pains, discomfort, weakness, tired, lethargy. And it takes a while for the digestion system to come back. So there's different ways to break the fast. Green juices is one option to cool everything down. Greens are very cooling. Acid, they cool the acids. That's one way. You can start doing that, sipping on green juices, and then eat fruit maybe at the end of the day.
Smoothie?
Yeah, you can do smoothies. Yeah, sure. Even a green smoothie, you can do that. But juices, 1 for 2 days, get some green juice, then get into green smoothies and fruit smoothies. But the fruit itself, it's better to eat it than to play around with it. Like I said, I don't advocate juicing fruit anymore. Better to eat it. Greens, they're a lot more difficult to digest than people think they are. Fruit in half an hour, you pretty much digested it. Greens can take 2 to 3 hours. Everything else, 3, 4, 5 hours or more.
How about meat? A couple of days?
Yeah, it's a long time. So, we want to break the fast prudently, wisely. Fruit is the other option, just going straight on fruit. And that's another option. Then what we have, we call the hybrid, which I designed for children and for elder. Because children, we don't want to put them on fast for various reasons in our society. So messed up. Things happen when you put children on a fast. That you get in trouble through the system. That people have had their children taken away. Ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Just shows how much crap is in the society's brain. It doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Constipated nation, we call it. And these people are going to decide the outcome of your child because you're trying to heal your child and they take it away. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. So the people got to take their power back. That's another story. So we designed this for children and for elderly, and the Master Fast Hybrid is basically doing the Master Fast exactly the same thing, your dry fasting schedule and everything, doing the juice, the pudding, the herbs, the tea, and then at the end of the day, they have one fruit meal. Okay. And if they're not completely satisfied, they can have a salad or a raw soup, blended raw soup. And you do that within an hour. So if you eat fruit and you're still, you want something, wait 20 minutes, then have your salad or your soup. You never, ever want to mix fruit with any other foods.
And how long would you do this for? For life? As long as you can?
Oh, you can live on this.
40 days? Okay.
Oh, you can live on this. Yeah, definitely live on it. And then we have, I just came up with a new one called the Super Master Fast Hybrid. And this is all cooked. Instead of using the raw fruit as our meal, what we'll use is jams, which we blend with a lemon, some lemon or a whole lemon or half lemon. We can blend it all up and we eat that as our meal because it has a strong plasmatic effect, much more than the raw fruit. Or you can cook your own fruit from the fruits we've suggested: Concord grapes, cherries, berries. You can mix other fruits and you cook that and you put some lemon in there to get that plasmatic happening.
Interesting.
So you do that instead of going on the raw fruit. So we call it the Super Master Fast.
The cookbook's going to come out for all this stuff. It's hard to keep track. There's so much going on.
Yeah, but this is new, so people are going to experiment. I've done a little bit of experiment with it. It works.
So a lot of people have gone through this whole fast.
I've had children on the Master Fast.
I'm saying both. The full one. You have a lot lot of people experience. They've come back and said, Gino, you changed my life. Thank you so much.
You can read the testimonial files. There's
what
lots.
are just
every day
name off a few things of people that really stood out. Like I know there was a guy that was paralyzed and he's
80% recovered. He had a parachute accident in a competition. He hit the water 90 mile an hour. Was in a coma 10 days, I believe it was. His whole right side was paralyzed. 9 operations, I believe, in 10 months. 5-6 years ago, this accident happened. He found me about just before I went to Italy. He's 80% recovered. He really pushed into the dry fasting last summer. He did, in 2 months' time, he did a 12.5 day, then he did a 9 day, then he did a 15-day dry fast.
Wow.
And his feeling completely opened up on those dry fasts.
Wow.
All his senses. So he's at 80% feeling back.
Wow. That's amazing.
But he had problems at the beginning. He couldn't sleep through the night. He was urinating 5-6 times a night. In 1 month on Massive Fast, that was solved.
Oh. What about other things?
That's
like
one of the most
arthritis,
extreme cases.
Digestive issues.
Yeah. Aches, pains. Most people in 60 to 90 days can solve all their aches and pains. We had one kid in the UK who his spine was all warped in his 20s. He was all warped. He couldn't He couldn't sit on his butt. In 60 days, he had a huge release of plaque. It took him 60 days. His spine started straightening up. He's in Thailand enjoying himself. He's not cured. He's not 100%.
He's got a long way to go, but he's amazing.
But he's enjoying. He's riding bikes. He's from suicidal to that. So this is what can happen. The body can heal itself.
The science, obviously, no one wants to study this stuff because it's free, you know. But if you look at the anecdotal testimonials, you'll see people are getting a lot of freedom out of it. You know, a lot
cancers,
of
left,
relief.
right, center.
People are healing. So join the group. Get in contact with Gino if you want to get started. There's a lot of information there. All the information I'm going to put on here on this podcast. And you have anything else you want to add before we sign off today?
We can keep going on for hours. But,
we'll get you back again. But you know, the main thing is you got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in your ability to heal, because that's the number one limiting factor most people have, is this belief they can do it. Most people I talk to, I can't last a day.
Yeah.
And like, it depends how bad you want it, because human beings are the most powerful, incredible beings. And
everything's possible.
They have that ability to heal if you just believe in yourself. So
the key that you need to remember is the trigger to allow the body to heal to its blueprint design is stopping digestion completely for a long time. So we can't go dry for a long time. So we do master fast, back and forth, back and forth. I'll just put this in. Think about a dirty sponge. To squeeze it out, water, squeeze it out, water. You need to do that several times, and that's what our body is.
And each time you get another level, another level.
So that's how you heal the body, and only your body can heal. Nobody can do it for you. No doctor, no pill, no drug, no surgery. Only your body can heal, and it can create miracles, is what they call it. But once you understand creation, not a miracle. You're just putting the body in a state where it can access your blueprint. And the only way you can do that is first clean out that GI tract thoroughly, a lot of dry fasting, and so on and so forth. I've done 12 days in Italy. I was swimming in the sea in the winter,
nice,
Iceman style. And so on and so forth. It's great stuff.
Awesome. Well, I'm G. This is Gino. Thank you so much for coming in today and sharing all this amazing information. Guys, keep in touch, and we'll see you soon.
All right.
So that's it for the episode today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. A warning: please do not try this at home without doing proper research. Make sure you go to your doctor. Do read up as much as you can, know about yourself, and really, really, really be careful, because it's nothing to play around with, especially breaking the fast. You know, it's easy to not eat for a couple of days, but the real danger is when you start eating again. So now I'm just going to show a quick video. These are for my Facebook Live. If you guys follow me on Facebook, you'll see some frequent updates every couple of days. I'm doing a live, and I'm showing things that I'm going through or things that are interesting in my life. So this is a video of after a 72-hour dry fast, so it's no food or no water. I passed this worm, came out of me. I think it's a rope worm or a tapeworm, and it's over 2 feet long. It's crazy, but I think we all have worms. We all have parasites in us. It's just how strong our immune systems are, because we really hang on or not. I've been eating clean for like 9 years, vegetarian, borderline vegan the last couple of years, very no cheese and eggs, and then going on this fast and no food whatsoever. So as you can see, it's pretty gnarly stuff, but it's part of the journey. I want to share everything with you guys. So send me a message, email, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, however you want to connect, and I'd love to hear from you guys. Okay, so thanks for listening again, and episode 3 coming up soon. Love you guys. Peace.